Two coloured Sailmakers whipping without using a needle.
Morning men, starboard 10, the buffer.
Okay, so a bit of a nautical one this morning. And what we're going to do is we're going to whip the ends of our ropes using Sailmakers whipping. It's a rather decorative finish, but in this particular case, we're going to use two coloured whipping. Why use two coloured? The only reason I can think of, one, to make your rope stand out from the rest of the crowd, and two, you can choose your favourite colours for your team or whatever else you want it to be. So anyway, just makes your work look a lot smarter. Right, so what's whipping used for? Usually when you whip in the end of the rope, we put whipping on to prevent the rope from fraying or becoming unravelled. Now the advantages of using, say for example, whipping over a back splice is that when you actually whip the end of the rope, you're not adding any bulk to it as such. And so therefore, if your rope needs to pass through a pulley or something similar, then it's not going to jam, and it just looks really smart compared to the rest. Anyway, let's get on and let's get knotting. I've prepared the rope ready for us to do our two coloured Sailmakers whipping, and what I've done is I have basically separated the three strands at the top here, put a bit of masking tape around them so that we don't end up with a mini snake's wedding at the end here. The next thing I've done is I've just down here I have put a little constrictor knot in just to stop the rope from unravelling when we are actually putting on our Sailmakers whipping. And if you don't know how to do the constrictor knot, there will be a link in the description for this. The next thing I did was I got myself two different colours of whipping twine, and what I did was I cut myself an arm's length or approximately 33 inches of whipping twine, and up there is the metric conversion for that. So anyway, what we're going to do now, get on to the next step and actually do some whipping. What we want to do now is to thread our whipping twine onto our rope. And so first of all, we need to establish how long we want our whipping to be. And a general rule of thumb is that when you're whipping the end of the rope, whipping is usually between 1 and 1.5 times the diameter of the rope. It's not a hard and fast rule. If you want it longer or a bit shorter, you can, but remember, you're using it to actually protect and secure the end of your rope. So, in other words, now to load up our whipping twine, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make our whipping twine or the whipping about that long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come under one of the lays. So I'm going to choose this top lay here, and I'm just going to punch my way through with my Swedish fid. And then once I've done that, what I'm going to do now is get hold of both the colours, so the red, and pass that through. Just pass it through till you get hold of it, and then the green one. And here comes the green one. I couldn't have chosen a fiddlier video if I tried, could I? And then pass that through. And then once you've passed that through, you can take your fid out and then pull your cords or your whipping twine through. And what I'm going to do now is just keep pulling, and what we're looking for is the following. We're looking for a couple of short ends of equal distance at the top here. So shortish ends there, and what we're going to do now is put those short ends through our rope. And you can see here on this one here, I've got a little bit of a gap, and what I'm going to do is just make sure that gap is closed up by just pulling the green one closer to the red one. Okay? And just gently push it through. So, in order to create, we now need to create a loop at the top side. And to create the loop, what I'm going to do is we went underneath this one here, this lay of the rope. And what I'm going to do is just roll it slightly. And what I want to do now is put my Swedish fid through the next one along and push my way through. And I've just caught the green one. I don't want to catch the green one. So just push it through. There we go. I've gone underneath that lay right next to the green one. And I'm just going to push my fid through a little bit more. And now what we do is we feed both our bits of whipping twine through the next one, or the next hole that we've produced, and then just pull it through. But don't pull it all through, because what we're looking for now is at the top here, we want a loop. And what we're looking, so what I'm going to do is just put my finger around there and then just pull through enough. What we're looking for is as follows. I'm having a loop at the top, and the loop at the top wants to be big enough so that it will fit over the top right of my rope. It's not quite big enough yet. So what I'm going to do is just pull through a little more like so. And now when I take it to the end of my rope, nope, still not enough. So I'm just going to pull a little bit more through. And now when I take it over to the end, it will fit over the strands fairly easily. But the other thing that we've got to consider as well is, if I take those two long ones out the way, we've got these two short ones here. And these two short ones also have to be able to go over the top of our rope, and you'll see why shortly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some more through from the long ends and then a little bit on the short ends until I still want a little bit more. You want some to play with to tie a knot in at the end. So I'm just going to pull a little bit more through, and then hopefully now I've got a nice loop at the top which will fit over our strands. Yes, they fit over our strands. And then these two ends here, yeah, perhaps a little bit too much, but they will fit over our strands. So that now, what we've done here is we've loaded up our whipping twine ready to get on and do a little bit of whipping. What I'm going to do now is, you can see here, those two are staggered across the rope compared to those two. And what we need to do is basically work them up, the bottom ones towards the top ones, so that we don't have a stagger. Or if we have a stagger, we've got a very small amount of stagger. And so that top one can come down a little bit. And there we go. What we've done now is we've now loaded up, ready for us to do the turns on our rope. And now we're ready to do a little bit of wrapping. Now the first thing that we want to do is just get hold of our work and just gently pull down the loop that you've created, and also the two short leads. Just get them under your hand like so, because the next thing we're going to do, and you just want to be fairly careful to start with this one. Don't pull too hard to start with, but just basically start wrapping the two long strands around your rope, and just make sure that the first one is nice and square and goes round over the top and round again. Right, now that you've probably done a complete turn, you can now start pull up a little bit tighter. But if you feel your too short leads or your loop slipping, then just stop and don't put so much pressure on. And then just keep going round. And what we're looking for now is, just let me do one more turn, that's it. And what we're looking for now is that when we go to the back side, it's nice and evenly together, no crossings, and on the front side, nice and evenly together. And that's all we keep doing, is just go round, check the back, and I can see here a very slight gap appearing, so just pull that, and that's it, you've got it out of the way. Round again, and just make sure the colours don't cross because you want it to be even as you're going round. And then check the back and then round again. And then here we go. I think I've got a final turn there, and what I'm going to do now is just stop. Right, now this is the slightly awkward bit because what we're looking for now is, how do I hold this without letting go? Right, so you can now see where our loop is, and you can see our loop is actually going around one of the lays here, and what you want to do is just basically follow that lay round, and then that lay, if we follow it round, it goes to there and it goes over the top, or you want to go over the top of that strand there. So if I now take it round and then pull that strand through, you can now see where I've pulled it through, it's actually following the lay of the rope. Okay, and now what I want to do now is get hold of my two short leads, which are there, and just gently pull up on them nice and tight. And what it does then, I can now let go of this one here, and that is now locked in place. And so there we have it. We've done the next step. Now that we've locked it in place by pulling our two short cords, just make sure they're flush at that point there with the turns that we've done previously. And you can see here now we've nicely followed the lay of our rope to this strand here, and we've gone over the top of that strand there. And what we need to do now is undo the seizing or the constrictor knot. So I'm just going to go in there and snip that out. Oh, I do love these new scissors. Okay, it looks like I can take that out. There we go. I've taken that out. And now that we've taken that out, I want to now pull again and just pull so that that loop that we put around there is now nice and snug, nice and tight against there. And now when we actually, and then pull it this way as well, because what we want to do is just make sure it's nice, tight and even all the way round. Okay, and so you can see now here, I can fiddle around as much as I want. Everything is locked in place at this time, and so not a massive problem. So now that we've done that, now let's get on and do the last bit of tying, and then we've completed it. Right, in this step, what we're going to do is, remember the two short leads that haven't done very much yet? What we're going to do now is just get hold of those, and we're going to follow this lay round so that it's nice and even compared to the rest. And the other thing that you're looking for is, you can see we've got red, green, so we want to make sure that the red one is on the top, and then just lay it around and follow that lead round, and eventually you'll come to the actual lead that you can wrap it round. Once we've done that, we then want to go to this side here, and you can see those two that were used to wrap around the actual rope itself. What we can do now is we can just separate our rope out a little bit, or our three strands out like this. And what we're looking for now is we want to, I've come undone here. Just take that out again. Just bring it round, tuck it through, that's it. And what we want to do now is, in the middle, what we're going to do now is, in the middle, we're going to join these two ends together using a reef knot or two reef knots. So I'm just going to make sure it's all pulled up nice and tight. And the first thing I'm going to do is just get hold of the two red ones, the ends of the two red ones, like so, and then just go and tie a quick reef knot, left over right, and then make sure the actual knot is in the middle of your three strands. And now we go, take the right one, pass it over the left one, bring it round, and then back, make sure it's in the middle. And we've now tied off our red strand. And then you can now see that it's all looking good at this point here. So it just leaves us the green ones to do. And so the green one, let's see, where does the green one go? Find the green one, there it is. And then just basically tie another reef knot, left over right, and just make sure it guides down into the middle of the 3 strands, like so. And then we go right over left, and pull it up nice and tight. And now there you can see now we've completed, in this case, our Sailmakers whipping, 2 coloured Sailmakers whipping. And so all we've got to do now is go in and snip out the excess. And the other thing I'm going to do is just gently tuck down. If it's anything slightly unsightly, tuck it down a little bit just to make it look better. There you go, just check it all over. And that's it, we've done our Sailmakers whipping. And so what we want to do now, as I said, is I'm going to go in there and just cut out my loose strands. Perhaps I could have done it a bit tighter, but anyway, there we go, and cut those 2 out. There we go. And now, there we have it. We've got our Sailmakers whipping done. A little bit of a red strand there. And the next thing that we've got to do is, just to neaten it up some more, is basically cut our 3 strands. And what you're looking for is you want a little bit of your strands poking out. So probably about the width of my Swedish fid at this point here, all the way round. And then it gives our Sailmakers whipping a bit of a shoulder to sit against. And so what I'm going to do now is just go in and, oh, those strands could be cut back a little bit more. There we go. And now I'm just going to go in fairly tightish with my electrician's scissors. I do like these. And cut. And go the same distance again. Cut. There we go. And there we have it. Just needs to go around, just give it a little haircut, dive down and get those colours out of there. But as you can see, what we've done is we've now done a rather decorative looking 3-coloured Sailmakers whipping. Okay, and there's, you see this one here, all I've got to do is just make sure, fluff the ends over a bit, dive down and pull that. For example, I've got to just cut that little bit of red out, so I'll do that now whilst I see it. So cut that out, there we go, that looks a little bit smarter and a little bit neater. And there we have it, 2-coloured Sailmakers whipping, make your ropes look smart. Anyway, see you next time, bye bye.
Fallout from flying stations. Gash may now be ditched.